the source of this problem lies in the ETFs. Now, what you're about to see is pretty disturbing because comparing this year's history versus previous year's history, it is night and day's difference. And I firmly believe that this data is pointing to a crisis leading to the culprit being ETFs. So, acquisition corporations. I'm sure you've seen them. You've probably seen a lot of them. There's been a lot of them created lately. And now what they are is they are corporations formed for the purpose of effecting a merger, stock exchange, acquisition, reorganization, or similar business combination with one or more businesses. Now, ETFs they're similar to mutual funds, but ETFs offer quote unquote lots of benefits that mutual funds don't. So basically, with ETFs, the fundamentals do not matter whatsoever. They're marketed as a method of enjoying the benefits associated with this unique and attractive investment product without even being aware the complicated series of events that make it work. Just like what we saw in 2008 with CDOs and credit default swaps. But of course, knowing how those events work makes you a more educated investor, a key to being a better investor. Michael Burry has actually been talking about this, and looking at the data, it's hard not to agree. So, again, an ETF, such as Vanguard Total Market, VTI, are pools of publicly traded stocks or bonds that mimic stock index. Keyword mimic. ETFs are very similar to mutual funds, however, they have two key differences. Number one, ETF shares trade on a stock exchange. Two, new ETF shares are created or redeemed by an authorized participant. In other words, a market maker, aka Citadel. Now, the sponsor, this is how they're created. The sponsor of the ETF, more than likely Citadel, which we're about to see in here in a minute, how we know they're the sponsor. They form an agreement with the participant, such as Vanguard, BlackRock, another market maker specialist, someone like that. Then they borrow the stock shares. They don't buy them, they borrow the stock shares. Then they place those shares in a trust and then use them to form ETF creation units, which is what you see on the market. They then go and they take those shares and they sell them into the open market, which are then purchased by retail. So they're funnels of liquidity based on legal claims, in essence. So if you can see how bad this is going to get, or how bad this is getting, just wait. So ETFs are created by buying up acquisition corporations, to recap, shell companies, SPACs, mergers, things like that, with borrowed shares or legal claims, who then give it to participants such as Vanguard, and then they're sold to retail. Wow. So let's take a look at Citadel and the acquisition corps they've been buying up this year. So as you can see here on the left hand side, this is the most recent 13Gs filed. And remember, when a 13G is filed, that's 5% or more ownership in a company. So all of these are either SPAC mergers or acquisition corporations. This whole page right here on the right was all done in February. Now I want you to take a look at this and compare it to the following image. This is one full page of, that's right, between 2016 and December of 2020. February 2016 to December of 2020. One whole page. So, ETFs are being engineered at an astounding rate. They buy up SPAC and acquisition corporations. They own the companies. They own those shares. But they're all from borrowed equity. So while the ETF itself may represent the underlying stock that it represents, The shares that are sold into the market do not. Millions of shares are trading hands daily without the actual ownership of the underlying stock changing whatsoever. Next, we're going to see how it affects price discovery and just how bad this is getting.